Listen to the 48 Hours podcast for shocking murder cases and compelling real-life dramas from one of television's most watched true crime shows. Go behind the scenes of each episode with award-winning CBS News correspondents and producers in Postmortem, a weekly deep dive. Listen to 48 Hours wherever you get your podcasts.
Inspired by the life of the savvy and ambitious Colombian businesswoman Griselda Blanco comes a new Netflix original limited series. Griselda tells the story of a devoted mother who, with her lethal blend of charm and relentless savagery, creates one of the most powerful cartels in history. Witness Sofia Vergara's captivating transformation into the godmother of the underworld. Griselda, now streaming only on Netflix.
Bare naked, bare naked, bare naked, ABCs. Welcome to the Bare Naked ABCs, where we discuss every Bare Naked Ladies song from 7 to Y. But that is not all that we talk about, no siree. We discuss our thoughts, our feelings, and most importantly, our dreams. Lock in. This is going to be a long one, folks. No, seriously, this is going to be a long one. We're gonna expand this to 2 weeks. This is a big song we're talking about. Speaking of which, Aaron, what would you do if you had $1 million?
I would invest it in securities and live off the interest.
What an exciting answer. Thank you.
Honestly, I'd probably buy a Tesla, something outrageous like that.
And then securities.
But I would invest a decent amount, yeah.
Yeah. And we have a special guest going all the way back to our very first guest ever. We have Blake joining us this week. Welcome, Blake.
Hey, well, I am back. I can't believe it. It's been a while.
It has.
Blake, what would you do if you had $1 million?
I'm thinking traveling. I'm definitely traveling. I need to go, especially after this year, I need to travel.
Where would you go first, Blake?
Seriously, I actually want to take my wife to like Hawaii or like Italy or like.
Yeah.
I definitely want to take my wife there. So definitely, those are the top 2 places on my list.
Hawaii sounds nice.
Yes, it does, especially after this year.
Yeah. Yeah, winter in Hawaii.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
That sounds like a great idea. I'm not gonna lie.
You'd have to visit though, because you probably couldn't afford to live there.
No.
So, if you haven't heard this song before, Bare Naked Ladies, which is a Canadian alternative rock band, because I know you don't know who this band is if you don't know
Anyone
this
watching
song.
this show clearly doesn't know who BNL are.
If you don't know the song,
listening.
what's wrong with you?
I know. You must be completely new to BNL if you don't know this song. But if you haven't heard it before, here's a quick snippet off their first album they put it on.
If I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
well, I'd buy you a house.
I would buy you a house.
And if I had $1 million,
if I had $1 million,
buy you furniture for your house.
Maybe a nice Chesterfield or an ottoman.
Which, Aaron, what album would that be?
Well, that would be Gordon, Tracy, and much to my embarrassment.
Wait. We asked you this question last week. Let's put in a snippet of what you said last week right here. Yep. That's why I was going to say, it's like we can't not discuss this song with you.
Yeah.
Because I know better.
It's got to be an all-star episode. I mean, it's the big one. It's
Well,
I think Aaron even knows what album this is on already.
Okay, but even if he didn't, he could roll the dice and get it right.
Probably.
I gotta be honest, I don't know for sure, but I've got a good guess.
Okay, wait, what's your guess? I want to know right now.
Oh god. Stunt. No?
I'm not telling you.
Oh.
I'm not telling you until next week.
Okay.
I'll tell you in 1 week.
I'm going to Google it now.
You can't.
No!
I already guessed.
Crap, now I got to keep this in there.
Oh,
for the,
we totally should have saved this moment for the episode.
Because he is looking it up.
He's looking it up. He's gonna
Googling
check it out. Yeah, he's like,
oh, damn it, it's Gordon.
it was really the song that made him famous.
I should have known. With the craft dinner. Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking stunt. I can't believe I said that. Because if
I have to know what was said.
I think I said like stunt. But you know, I know. In retrospect, because the thing is, I have heard like underground demos of this song. I know this song like predates anything they've done, so I have no idea why I pulled stunt out of the mystical cosmic hat when I guessed. But no,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I should have known better. Mea culpa.
That's amazing.
Oh, it's wonderful that you make a mistake every now and then.
I am
you're
human.
So spot
Contrary to popular opinion, I am human.
We accept you into our human.
I'm not a robot.
By the way, I want to say though, this is one of my karaoke songs. This is actually one of my.
It's interesting that you say that, Blake, because I do believe the first time I ever heard this song was Tracy singing it in a karaoke bar.
This is not surprising. That was not a setup. Yeah, I did not know that.
I might do karaoke every now and then.
I miss karaoke. I'm not gonna lie. I miss it. I haven't gone since March. I miss it.
All right, let's do karaoke right now.
Lord. I haven't done my warm-ups.
I have no beer.
Yeah, need to be more drunk for that.
Yeah, I'm drinking juice. I'm drinking juice, not beer. So,
as you mentioned, Darren, this is one of the best-known songs by Bare Naked Ladies. As a matter of fact, it is a song that they have done in every single concert except for one in their history of doing concerts, even predating Gordon. As Ed said, that song has kind of taken a life of its own. We played it every single time that we've ever done a live show. We have never left it out of a set, except for, I think, we played a fashion show in Germany once where we only did 3 or 4 songs, and we figured the German people wouldn't understand what the hell we were singing about anyway, so we didn't play it. I think that literally that's the only time that we haven't played the song.
If I had $1 million Deutschmarks. Doesn't have the same ring. They weren't on the Euro yet, were they? I'm not sure. Maybe they were.
And they didn't get bored of it. That's the thing, is they don't get bored of doing this song. It's different a little bit for them every single time, and the audience participation really makes them love doing this song.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
One of the things I want to point out, though, is how is this song spelled? Most people don't put it out there right. They write out $1 million. That is not how it is put on the album. $1,000,000,000. Close. Leave the commas out.
Funny part is on Wikipedia, there's no commas. There is no commas.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. No commas.
No commas.
Well, they always wear Mavericks.
So a little bit of info drop tonight. I have 9 pages of notes, so I'm gonna be talking a lot, so you guys can jump in whenever you want.
I have 6, so we're good.
All right. So this song reached number 13 in Canada and eventually charted in the United States and the United Kingdom, peaking at number 13 and on the UK chart and number 37 in the US chart. Now, it's high. Okay, so it was highly requested on the radio stations in Canada after the release of Gordon. That's when the management finally decided to release a 1-track single of it in December of 1992, after 6 other songs. So this is their 7th single, and they only released it after people kept asking for it on the radio all the time. They're like, oh yeah, we should probably release that. So because it was famous before it became a single, and because it has no video, it's not considered to be a true single release.
Okay.
So in 2005, Canada also had a discussion on CBC Radio of what the top 50 essential Canadian songs of all time were. This one came up at number 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive, actually. That's really impressive. What was number 1?
Number 1 was Ian and Sylvia's 4 Strong Winds, and followed very quickly by Neil Young's Heart of Gold.
This song has been used on a lot of different things. So in the early 2000s, it was used on a TV show and radio advertising for the New York Lottery. In 2002, it was featured in an episode of Scrubs called My Fruit Cups. It was also used to feature in the end credits of Dave Shelley and Chainsaw's 2006 film The Trouble with Money. And it was on the featured soundtrack of the 2003 film My Boss's Daughter. And it has also appeared on an episode of Bait Car as it was playing loudly on the stereo of the stolen car in that show.
Okay, then.
Whew.
I'll throw one in there so you can get your voice back. The Seattle Mariners played it at Alex Rodriguez when he came back as a Texas Ranger, mocking him for his $250 million contract. So I think that's funny. I think that's great.
Way to go, Mariners.
It's a good move. Power move.
Now, you would think that no one has ever done the song other than them, but you would be wrong. Eminem actually sampled a part of their song.
Really?
For his song, If I Had.
Tired of not being a millionaire, but if I had $1 million, I'd buy a damn brewery and turn the planet into alcoholics. If I had a magic wand, I'd make the world suck my dick without a condom on while I'm on the John. If I had $1 million.
And it has been parodied by the I'm going to have a hard time with this. Bromdingnigan. Bromdingniginian. Bards. Whew! I hate that name. As they sing the song, If I Had $1 Million Ducats.
Mad Ducats.
And it was based on medieval and Renaissance things.
If I had $1 million ducats, if I had $1 million ducats, I'd buy you a fur cloak and not a woolen cloak, cause that's cool, it itches. If I had $1 million ducats, if I had $1 million ducats, I'd buy you an exotic pet, like a dragon or unicorn. If I had $1 million ducats, if I had $1 million ducats, I'd buy you a saint's remains and all them crazy lucky saints' bones.
I was gonna say, Brobdingrag was like from Gulliver's Travels, right?
Yes.
I love the fact that Aaron just pronounced that with no problems whatsoever.
Yeah.
I think I messed it up. I think it's Brobdingnag.
Whatever.
I'm not sure. But yeah.
Yeah.
The trick is just to be confident and just like, that's the way it is.
Brobdingnagian.
Brobdingnagian.
Now that you've said it, I can say it.
You gotta hear it once.
Asphyxiate.
It is, Brobdingnagian is my asphyxiate. Now, that is not the only interesting fact about this song. A few years ago, Ben & Jerry's created a flavor called If I Had $1 Million Flavors. The confection...
They pretty much do, don't they?
Yeah. Maybe this is their millionth flavor.
Mmm.
It consists of vanilla and chocolate ice cream, peanut butter cups, chocolate-coated toffee chunks, white chocolate chunks, and chocolate-coated almonds.
I really wish I ate before the show.
No, it's in your. It's actually in all of your freezers right now. You go look. I put it in all of your freezers.
You get a pint, and you get a pint.
That's right. On the Oprah.
The magic of the internet.
I wish it worked that way.
Yeah, right. Download some Ben & Jerry's.
It's the Willy Wonka vision.
It's like Back to the Future.
Not a sponsor, but Ben & Jerry's, please give us that sweet sponsor money.
That's right. Please. Literally, the sweet sponsor money. So that makes them the first Canadian band to have their own flavor of ice cream. And all royalties from it go to the ABC Canadian Literacy Foundation, which is a Toronto-based organization that promotes reading to children at home.
See, Tracy, now I need to write a letter to Ben & Jerry's and ask them to make a flavor called Tragically Chip. Still my favorite Canadian band. Sorry, BNL. Hashtag sorry, not sorry.
So, Aaron, when I asked you what album this is off from, you could have given us many answers.
Silver Ball.
No, not that one.
That was not what I expected.
Let me go through all the different versions of this song.
Sit back, enjoy.
And I'm not going to put in a clip for every song because you would be here all night.
There'd be too many, yeah.
This is already going to be a 2-week show.
First showed up on the 4th edition of Buck Naked. Now, that version is very basic, and of course, because it's just Ed and Steve, and it's missing Creegans, it's missing Tyler. It's definitely not finished. This was the one that you listened to earlier this year, Aaron. And as you could know, they skipped the banter, the energy wasn't there, and it was pretty hurried. So it wasn't quite as funny yet. It was early. They followed that up by having it on their second tape, Bare Naked Lunch. Now, I don't know why they left it off their third tape, Bare Naked Recess, but they brought it back for the radio station release called Variety Recordings. It was also on the yellow tape. And then finally got its official release with Gordon. Now, the edited version of the Gordon recording of the song later appears as a bonus track on the UK version of Born on a Pirate Ship.
That's pretty close to stunt, in my defense. It's getting close.
Almost there. Almost
there. It's really working its way forward. And that's the version that was later released as a single. The live version was then featured on Rock Spectac. Then the Gordon version was included on the Disc 1 All Their Greatest Hits. They have also had this on their Red Rocks live album, the iTunes original album that they released in studio, the Hello City that was done live in performance in Toronto, and Talk to the Hand, which is a video recording of their show in Michigan. Whew!
Tracy's going to go back.
A lot of versions.
Tracy, you're going to go back to the video of this. You're going to see me just putting numbers up as you're going through. We're at 12.
12. All right. There we go. Whew. So, before I start talking about who's in this song, because that list is going to kill my voice, what do you guys think of the song in general?
Honestly, I think this is a fun song. I think it's just fun. It's one of those, this is like one of the first B&L songs I've ever heard. I'm not going to lie. This is one of that first song. You just know it. It's like, okay, I love this band now because they're having fun, and this is going to be a lot of fun. I remember having it at the concerts, and it was always a joke. I know I went to my best friend, when I was in Jersey, she used to go to Metallica concerts all the time. And she always used to say, you can't leave till you hear Enter Sandman. Well, when I took my buddies to a Bare Naked Ladies show, I told them we can't leave until we hear If I Had $1 Million, because that means that's the end of the show. That was the rule. You can't leave until you hear it. So even if it's the second encore, like at the Christmas show we went to, it was a second encore. But you can't leave until you hear the song. So that's great.
Right. You know that if you haven't heard it at the end of the first encore, that there's a second encore.
I thought it was for the Christmas tour. They did did they know it was Christmas for the first encore, and in the second encore, they've had $1 million.
Because I remember being at a concert on that tour as well and going, they didn't play If I Have $1 Million. What? No way. What is going on here? Yeah. And then, of course, they came out for a second encore.
I remember going to the Blam tour in Wisconsin. I took my wife to that show. And I looked at her, I'm like, just wait. They're going to come back out. We're going to do If I Had $1 Million. But it's not over yet. It's not done yet.
Aaron, your thoughts on the song in general?
I can't recall. It must have been in the early 2000s when I first heard this song, believe it or not. I was not a BNL aficionado the way that I am now, having done this show for 2-3 years now. Must be 2 years at least. I was aware of them, but like many people, I probably only knew 1 week. I think 1 week was the only BNL song I knew. But, through my friendship with you, Tracy, and for those of you who aren't aware, Tracy and I are working on an evergreen movie project that will hopefully be published before we die, called Bowling for Alderaan, which is a Michael Moore / Star Wars crossover.
I haven't heard that in a long time. I forgot that was still a thing.
So anyways, I met Tracy through my mom who worked with him. And we hit it off right away. We had a very similar sense of humor and interested in the very kind of similar pop culture elements. And, Tracy, being a huge BNL fan, started to kind of slowly try and convert me into the BNL cult, I think. He was pretty subtle at first, but eventually, now I'm part of the show. But, yeah, I had heard 1 week. That's about it, I think. And then I don't know if it was you played it for me on, like, a CD or something, or if we were just out doing karaoke and you sang it, but I was like, wait, really? That's BNL? Because, for me, I just thought they were this, like... I thought, of course, like the Ed rapping thing became a bigger part of their sound later on. But even then, even in the later years, that's certainly not all they do, But I just thought they were this kind of quirky band that did like ska, pop, rock, rap. And I was like, okay, that's their thing. But obviously, no, So I realized this is almost country-like, and it has this, country kind of feel to it. They have a pretty broad base. There's more to this band than meets the ear, and it kind of was my beginning to opening up to give them a chance and just see like how wide and how broad their kind of collection, their library was. So even if, to me, like regardless of what I end up rating this song, it's an important song to me. I think more than anything, like I like the song. I think Blake summed it up perfectly. Fun is like the best word I would give for this song. It's a fun song. Certainly, this is a song that I would, if I were trying to show someone to demonstrate kind of the breadth of their scope, I would include this in kind of the, here's the BNL starter pack.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's interesting. It's different. And it kind of has something. It almost like dips a toe in everything that they do, except for maybe the rap stuff. It's like it's irreverent. There's the nice little vocal chit chat back and forth sections, which is in a lot of their stuff. It sort of just gives you a glimpse into who they are, their sense of humor, and how musical they are, even when they're being silly. It's a legit, decent, good song. It's solid musically. It also happens to be funny. The lyrics are witty, and it's just fun. Like Blake said, I think fun is probably the word that I would come back to again and again.
Yeah,
it makes me smile when I listen to it, and it's certainly one of the songs that I know you've been looking forward, Tracy, to discussing for quite some time.
Oh yeah, since the beginning of the podcast, this is one of those songs that I was like, I am so excited to get to this song, even though everyone knows it. Because I have such a fervent love of this song.
By the way, I just had a thought. I'm a big Sirius XM person. I listen to it in my car all the time. And there are literally 4 BNL songs that I ever hear in rotation. It's 1 week. It's all been done. Pinch Me and this song. It's the only 4 songs I ever hear in rotation on Sirius XM. Right. So that's how popular this song is.
Not another postcard?
No, not another postcard. But those are literally the 4 songs I ever hear.
Michelle is rolling over in her seat.
Hey, I do like that song. But anyway...
I honestly, I think that song
I do like that song.
What Michelle gave it. But that was me, Tracy.
That would be funny if she just popped up in the Zoom call.
Maybe she'll come back. Yeah.
Why don't we break this song down? I'm going to start off with the breakdown, though, if I may.
Please, by all means.
All right. So what I want to do is I want to talk about the people that are in this song. And then I'm going to shut up and let Aaron talk because I'm going to probably be out of voice by that point. So, if you pay attention and look at the liner notes, you see a very small selection of who is in this song. Of course, over the years, more and more people have been identified out of this group, but let's go through it. So, we have Ed Robertson playing the acoustic guitar. We got Steve doing the co-lead with Ed. We've got Jim Cregan doing the double bass. We've got Andy Cregan doing the piano and backing vocals as well. We got Tyler on the drums. And then we have Bob Weissman on the accordion. We have Dave Allen on the fiddle. We got Louis Melville on the pedal steel guitar. And then in the chorus, we have the Suburban Tabernacle Choir. Basically, this is all the people that helped them reach the point that they had reached when they hit Gordon. And they were like, let's have everyone that's in the independent rock Toronto music scene join us in this choir. So let's go through the list of all those people. because I would have never thought there are this many people in the choir here. They do a really good job with mixing this because this is a huge group. We've got Arlene Bishop, Blair Packham, Chris Brown, who would later come back and play keyboards when on the stunt tour when they could not have Kevin. We have Dave Clark, David Matheson, Earl Stokes, Erica Buss, Gene Hardy, Gregor Beresford, Janet Morisudu, Jason Mercer, Jason Plum, Gian Gomishi, Joanne Page, Kate Fenner, Keith Nakonekny. Whew, that was a hard one. All right, hold on. I'm all the way down to the M's. Martin Teely, Matthew DiMatteo, Matthew Page, Merrill Cadell, Mike Barber, Mike Ford, Moxie Fruvis, Murray Foster, Nadia Cregan, Natalie Harbert, Sally Lee, Shelley Hines, Stephen Pitkin, Tanis Slimman, Tim Vesely, and veteran Warhorse. That was what he was credited at, but that is David Bendini from the Rheostatics and the Waltons.
Wow. Okay, then.
As I counted, that's somewhere around 25 people in the background.
I would have never guessed that.
No. And the name that they gave it, Suburban Tabernacle Choir, was a play off a band that was in the area that was led by, I want to say, Chris Brown, and it was called the Bourbon Tabernacle Choir. And so they played around with that name and making this background group. Woo! All right, Aaron, that's what I've got for the musical breakdown. Can you take it from there?
Well, I sure can, Tracy. Let's break it down.
Break it down.
All right. So if I had $1 million, or if I had $1 million, if you want to be literal with the title, was recorded at right around 161 to 162 beats per minute. It is in the key of A major. It is a very simple song. I love these really, really easy to break down songs. It allows me to just take a kind of a lax kind of attitude and just really enjoy the song.
Yeah, you took a break this week. I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, we traded places here. But yeah, so the A section for the verses and some of the instrumental sections and the chit-chat is 3 chords. Very simple. A, E, D. So you have 1, 5, 4. Very simple and classic. It's got a bouncy country shuffle kind of feel. Definitely not traditional country. The accordion gives it almost a Zydeco sound. But I feel like it wouldn't have seemed too out of place at the Grand Ole Opry, especially back in the day. The B section or chorus section inverts the chord structure. So you have D, E, A. DEA, so now all I can think of is Hank from Breaking Bad. They're minerals, Marie. Then you go to F sharp minor, and then back to D, which of course is the perfect fourth from the tonic, so it turns it around into the verse. No bridge, nothing else, that's it. You have 3 chords, well you have 4 chords with the F sharp minor. You have A, E, D, and then you have D, E, A, F sharp minor, back to D. Very simple. The structure is intro, which is your A changes, that's instrumental. Verse 1, which is A. Your chorus, which is B, the post-chorus / vocal chit-chat, right, which is the A changes again, A, E, D, and then you have verse 2, and then the chorus, and the post-chorus vocal chit-chat, and then verse 3, and then the chorus. So what we have here is A, A, B, A, A, B, A, A, B, ab, 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 which, interestingly enough, well, interesting to me anyway, is my initials 3 times. So, there you go. I'm pretty sure this is, like I said, the second song I ever heard from BNL. So again, it's one of those songs that, to me, I think it really was Brian Wilson that really hooked me when you play Brian Wilson for me. And I was like, wow, okay, this band's got something much more going on than you would just think from what they play on the radio. But I was a little surprised, when I first heard this, to hear the feel, the tone, the instrumentation. They're very different from something like 1 Week. Little did I know this broad spectrum is what typified B&L's library, especially in the first couple of decades, which is really weird to say. They've been around for a while now. It's a fun song. As we established, fun is a great word for it. Probably on my list to play for people who want to get a feel for what B&L are all about. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the breakdown. It's very simple, very straightforward. Just a few chords to it. It's probably, if you are like someone who likes B&L and you're learning music and you want something to, like a first song to learn to play, this might be a good one because it's pretty straightforward. Even though it's actually, like I said, it's like, 161, 162 beats per minute. The changes are not like super fast. So yeah, right. the song's at a fairly up tempo, but it sounds kind of more laid back because of the way it's played. So I think this would be a fun one to learn if you're looking to learn your first B&L song. And it gives you an opportunity to kind of riff. If I were going to cover this in my band, we would do our own, chit-chat interludes between them and make up our own. Like I said, I would buy a Tesla. That we would include that. I would sit in the passenger side and wave at people when I pass them. And don't do that, by the way.
Yeah, I caught the video of Becca riding in the Tesla. That was the most wonderful thing in the world.
That was, yeah. So for those of you who don't know me personally, we recently came back, my fiance and I, from a trip visiting a friend in Atlanta, Georgia. And a friend of this friend had a Tesla. And I myself have wanted a Tesla. I've lusted after the Tesla for as long as I've known it was a thing. And I guess she had told our mutual friend that I was a big Tesla fan, and he had asked his friend, "Can Aaron drive it?" And I didn't know this, so they kind of surprised me. They were like, "You want to drive it?" I was like, "You're gonna let me drive your Tesla?" Like, yeah, sure. So we did it. That was a lot of fun, but even more fun was having Becca sit in the passenger seat and use the summon feature in a parking lot, and it just drove itself over to us, and it scared the crap out of some poor random person in the parking lot who just thought that this was like a ghost car or something. It was incredible.
Great.
They were like, "What's going on?" And I heard Becca yell, "It's a Tesla!"
You can actually hear it in the video. It is wonderful.
Yeah, it was so much fun. That was great. So, yeah, someday I will own one, but not for now.
But as you said, Aaron, this is a really super simple song musically. Which works for them being able to riff in the middle of it and their breaks. And it really, it makes sense because we'll get to the history behind this song in a few minutes. But it makes sense why it's such a simple song. But at the same time, while the music is simple, the lyrics are not.
No.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. At service level they might be, but right. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about this.
If you're paying attention, there's a lot to this.
Oh yeah, my lyrics notes are 2 pages long for a reason.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, I'm super stoked to hear this.
Well, I'm going to let you go first, Blake, because I really still need to give my voice a break.
That's all right. I'll start here with, I did a little bit of math calculations while I was sitting. I had a little bit of downtime this week at work. So I did some calculations, and I went back to 1992. I was curious on the numbers here. And in 1992, $1 million US is actually like 1.36 in Canada back then. So that's actually what the numbers were then. And actually it was closer to like a 1.8 million here if you do the opposite way. So it works out nicely. There was a lot more money in Canada than it would be here. Nowadays I did the jump 1 million now. It would then translate to now comes to inflation of $1.852 million right now. So if you do the inflation from 92. So that's a good jump, actually. That's actually a really good jump if you look at it from that perspective. So
if I had $1.82 million,
that's the same ring to it.
If I had $1.82 million,
I was almost hoping it hit $2 million. I was really hoping for that when I did the math. I was like, damn! I was hoping
it'll get there in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
By the time this whole episode airs,
2 weeks, then it will be.
By the time this whole episode airs.
So, Blake, would you mind sharing for people the sentence that Wikipedia wrote about this song? Because it is I wrote it down and you had it, and it's an amazing sentence.
Yes, we were laughing about this before you came on air, and this is great. Before we came on the air. Okay, so according to Wikipedia, this is under structure. I laughed so hard when I read this. While hinting at romantic intentions, the lyrics offer eccentric ideas about purchases one would make with $1 million.
Go figure.
That might just be the most, exaggerated way of explaining the song ever.
It's simplified in big words.
Yeah. Yeah, that sentence is very funny. I also like the protagonist suggests all the things he would buy for his sweetheart were he worth $1 million. Wow.
Sort of got it right, sort of didn't on that. Okay, Wikipedia, stop being so wordy. It's a simpler song than that, but not.
Exactly.
Go with more depth. So this song starts with really practical things, which I like. He's as you mentioned, the protagonist is trying to impress the person that he's with his partner, saying, if I were a millionaire, I would buy you all these wonderful things. And he starts with the really practical things. I would buy you a house. I'd buy you furniture for your house. I'd buy a Reliant automobile. Now, notice that Steven chose the word Reliant and not reliable automobile. It's because he was talking about an actual K car called the Reliant. That was what he would buy it, which it wasn't that big a deal back then.
That was a great pun.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes into some more absurd things that he would do to impress her. But he also still wants to show that he's very humble and that it's all for her. So he builds her a tree fort and wants to buy her craft dinner. But then he goes into the money thing again. The money gets to his head, and he starts taking a limo to the store and buying Dijon ketchup. So it's really, really BNL being very absurdist in a lot of ways. And then we have it going to the last set where they're like, we are going to go outlandish. And here's the part that I love, and I made this connection a long time ago, but I don't know if everyone has. The purchases at the end of this song, as it goes along and becomes more extravagant, are joke and humor about Michael Jackson.
Well, I picked that up on the Elephant Man bones, yeah.
Yes. So the things that they say he would buy are the things that Michael Jackson bought. So we have the Elephant Man bones. We have specifically exotic animals like a llama or an emu. We have the pet monkey, of course, Bubbles. And when I was researching this week, I'm like, holy cow, BNL is smarter than I ever knew. Jackson bought Elizabeth Taylor, his friend, a sparkling emerald green dress that was not made of real emeralds.
What? That was a real thing? Oh my god.
That was a real thing.
I never knew that. That's fantastic.
25 years, 30 years I've been listening to this song and just now understood that line.
That's fantastic.
Realfakeemeralds.com.
That is fantastic.
Whew. I love the absurdity of it. They're shining a light on certain people's absurdity. At the same time, saying that they themselves would be absurd if they were millionaires, but towards someone else. I would buy you these things, not for me. I would still be humble enough to buy make a tree fort and buy craft dinner.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay, so actually, it's funny. Tracy, have you ever been to Duck Fat? Not a sponsor.
Yes.
There is a very good restaurant in Portland called Duck Fat that makes authentic Belgian frites fried in duck fat, as you might imagine. And they serve, amongst the accoutrements you can get with it, truffle ketchup. And it's delicious. And every time I go there, I order the truffle ketchup, and I just think, this must be that fancy Dijon ketchup they're talking about.
Well, and for those in the know, earlier this year, Kraft in finally waking up and going, oh wait, they talked about this in the juniors. We should really do that. Not only did they make a Stephen Page commercial with many of the little nods to this song, but on top of it, for a publicity stunt, released, I think it was about 1,000 bottles, maybe it was less, of Dijon ketchup as a contest.
Like you do.
Wasn't it actually just regular ketchup with a fancy bottle?
That I don't
With
know.
a tiny bit of
That
spice.
made me so sad. I believe
With a
that
tiny
is the
bit of
case,
spice.
that it was just regular Heinz.
Now, see, if they were smart, it would be barbecue sauce or something
There
like
you go.
that. Make it.
You made me believe, Heinz. You made me believe. How dare you?
They're probably the Canadians are gullible. They'll fall for this.
Sorry, eh?
This song is not just a staple of theirs, but also has become really important to the fans. Can you explain to Aaron a little bit about the tradition that goes with the BNL concerts?
That
The Rocky Horror.
yes, there is one, and I had to warn my wife about this because we were in a small theater when we saw them in Madison. It wasn't a big theater, so I had to warn her to duck because there were people, and I saw them when we were in line, that had boxes of craft dinner that they were throwing at the stage, and I had to make sure I told my wife to duck because we were standing up during this song because people legitimately did throw craft dinners out.
See, all I can think of is like Rocky Horror or like The Room where they throw the spoons at the
This was
screen
like that.
and stuff.
It was really funny. Because every concert I've been to, it was kind of something, but because we were such a small theater, it was like at full strength. It was hysterical to watch. I'm surprised no one got hurt. I really am surprised.
Now, I'm really surprised that they were still doing it by the time that your wife went
It's
to
2008
the
is
show.
the Blam tour.
Yeah, because long before this, they were putting boxes out in front of the auditoriums because they knew fans were going to do this, and they would donate the boxes of craft dinner to the local food banks and ask people to please put them in there instead of throwing them on stage because it doesn't feel good to get hit with hard macaroni. And actually, one time during the stunt tour, when Chris Brown was on keyboards, the craft dinner got inside the keyboards. They brought the person up on stage that they had seen that was throwing it, showed him the damage that he had done to the keyboards before they ejected him from the concert.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
Which does not sound like a very BNL thing to do.
No, but wow.
The last part. Like, the first part, yes. The last part, like, wow, I did not expect them to eject someone from the concert.
Damage the equipment. Jeez, wow.
Well, that's true. Like, hey, I can't play the songs anymore, guys.
And this is why they started bringing extra equipment.
And also why they decided to play this song last.
Exactly.
So one of the most important things about this tour, about this song, is at the end of the song, the band would usually extend the outro to allow Page to demonstrate his vocal abilities by doing short snippets of other songs. Or they would sometimes do the bare naked rap following up on the end of this song. After Page left, Kevin took over the parts that Steven would sing. On the tour, and this is one of the great things, on the album I was listening to, the Hello City album, where they were supporting the Maybe You Should Drive tour, the song frequently ends, on that album especially, ends with, if I had $1 million, some son of a bitch would die.
Wow.
And the reason they're saying that
Damn.
that is an allusion to the Bruce Coburn song, If I Had a Rocket Launcher, which we talked about a few months ago. So they were still liking to throw their little references in there on that tour. Sometimes they would talk about Lee Majors or Don Rickles, or they would do some really extra banter. And this is what they were really known for. Like, every time that they broke down into the banter, it was something absolutely brand new. One of the great things is I saw a interview with Steven. Behind the Vinyl did a interview with Steven, and then they also did another interview with Ed and Tyler, where they would play the song on vinyl, and while they're playing it, the band members talk about the song. And one of the things that Ed said when he was talking about the song is, this is a song that during the recording of Gordon, They recorded a version to 2 versions of this song every single day that they were in the studio, doing it completely different every day. And then finally at the very end, Michael Philip Vojevoda actually chose his favorite out of all the ones that they had done. And that's what became the quote-unquote canon that everyone knew because of Gordon. But that was constantly changing. The banter constantly changed. Even the leading into the banter, where they would talk about taking a limousine and building a tree fort, those things would even change during that part of the song when they were doing different versions.
Mm-hmm. I was actually thinking while you were talking, I remember at the All Natural Tour, it's the tour I always reference when I'm on this show, the All Natural Tour, where they, at the beginning of the show, they had their ad-lib stuff. Like they're talking about this legit story and how they needed to get a police escort to get to the building because they were running late, and then there was traffic, and they had this whole big rap at the beginning of the show, and they referenced it in $500,000. They brought it back, and the whole place popped because they brought back something from like an hour and a half ago. It was such a great moment. It was so cool. It was a comedy act. It's like that. It's like paying off a joke. It's really well done. They come to compliment a comedy where it's like that's the payoff right there. There it is. Perfect.
And the other thing that they really liked to do was they would, sometimes live, they would start the melody of the song, but then they would intricate another song into it. So I believe it's on Rock Spectac, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that they put into the beginning of it the first lines and like the first whole verse of Grade 9.
I got a blue and red Adidas bag and a humongous binder. I'm trying my best not to look like a minor niner. When I pull the football team to prove that I'm a man, I guess I shouldn't tell them that I like Duran Duran. This is me in grade 9, baby. This is me in grade 9. This is me in grade 9, baby. This is me in grade 9.
And then go into singing If I Had $1 Million, but it's all to the melody of If I Had $1 Million.
It's always creative. They always have a way of making it extremely creative.
And then one time, and I really worked hard on this, I could not get this because I actually had to purchase it and I didn't have the money to purchase it this week. On the River Music Hall version, they do a parody of the Kenny Rogers Gambler to start off this song and then lead into $1 Million.
That's pretty funny. By the way, you were right. It is grade 9.
I'm like, I need to own
It is grade
that.
9 into If I Had $1 Million on Rock Spectac. I just looked it up. You are correct.
Yeah. Considering I had 12 versions to guess from, that's not a bad guess.
Yeah, there you go. I just looked it up to double check.
Not only is it a crowd favorite because it's easy to sing, but people love to hear them do their ad-libbing, and this was the song they always ad-libbed on.
That's absolutely true. I was actually thinking, I've heard them break into like Everyday People during this song. They broke in. I forgot the other song they did, but that was one of my favorite ones where he just starts singing Everyday People as we're ending the song. I was like, that was random and cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where they would be like, at the very end, they would be like, Steve, we're just going to keep vamping. You do you and really show off your voice, and we're just going to keep going. And it was cool when they also later in the tours took away at the end of this and went into their Bare Naked Rap, which is where they would do all kinds of different versions of other melodies of other people's songs based off from the notes in the song. Because it is a very simple chord structure, as you were mentioning, Aaron. Is it 1-5-4?
Yeah, 1-5-4 for the verse, 4-5-1 for the chorus. It just reverses, yeah.
Yeah. So all they had to do was find another 1-5-4 song, and then they could just do that with a key change and keep going. And yeah, that's what they like to do very often. I've talked a lot about the lyrics. I'm going to leave it to you guys. What do you guys think about the lyrics?
It's interesting. There's a few. I mean, obviously, there's a universal theme of something which would seem to be unrequited love. You know, someone's trying to impress upon someone else. I would do all these things for you. I would buy you all these things. So it's kind of funny to me that it's like an inversion of the Beatles' "Can't Buy Me Love." They're trying to buy someone's love. Yeah.
That's funny. Aaron, we are on the same wavelengths. I wrote down the same thing this week.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah. And, you know, I did pick up on, you know, yeah, like you said, Bubbles and Joseph Merrick's Remains. there's definitely some Michael Jackson. Michael Jordan. Wow. Michael Jordan. First of all, Michael Jordan, we know you listen. Please come on the show.
I want to be on that show.
Repeat. I think the reason I just got finished watching The Last Dance. So
Fair enough. Great docuseries. Fantastic.
Good stuff. But no, yeah.
And Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson are very similar.
Not really.
I know I had a joke, but you can edit it out, so never mind. I'm not saying it.
Anyways, I did pick up on all the Michael Jackson stuff with Bubbles the monkey and or the chimpanzee, I think, really, and Joseph Merrick's Remains. Like so many things, we could go into potential interpretations of what else might be being said underneath this, and I'm very excited to hear your interpretation, Tracy, as well as yours, Blake. But yeah, for me, I do mostly for me, it's just this kind of weird inversion of the typical kind of normally you hear love is beyond all of these things, but it's simultaneously corrupt in that someone's trying to literally buy someone's love, but also kind of pure and wholesome, where they're like, I would do anything for you, I love you so much. And then building a treehouse together and stuff like that. So there's some stuff in there that's like genuinely kind of sweet seeming, but then it verges off into the ridiculous. Like, we'll put a mini fridge in the treehouse and put pre-packaged sausages in there.
So Steven actually responded to that when he was talking about Behind the Vinyl. Yeah. He's like, because we would just riff and we would come up with whatever came across our minds, he meant to say individually wrapped sausages and bacon.
But it's just funny.
It came out pre-wrapped. He's like, I don't know why I said that. We were just talking so fast, it just came out, and now it's a part of what everyone always says.
Well, there is such a thing as pre-wrapped bacon now.
Yes.
There's the microwavable, fully cooked bacon you can buy in the grocery store. And I bought this for my dad one year. He's not like really legit a prepper, but he's kind of like, he's into that kind of thing, the survival thing. So I bought him tactical bacon in a can. It's like fully cooked, and you just like open the can and you can eat it right out of the can. So
I have never heard of that.
This exists now
because of
BNL. Yeah, I'm gonna say they're gonna take the credit.
As they should.
Yeah,
it's a better world for it. But no, I mean, it's it's a fun song. There's a lot of interesting little quirkiness to it, but. My favorite line has to be, but not a real green dress, that's cruel. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, Tracy, I'm sure you know the full story about this. I heard, apocryphally, that this was Stephen Page in the studio had gotten the lyrics confused and pulled like a Yogi Berra and did like a malapropism, and he's like, he couldn't remember, the only thing he could remember was not a real fur coat, that's cruel. So he said, not a real green dress, that's cruel. And they liked it so much they kept it in. Is that accurate?
That is absolutely accurate.
I love it.
Which is how this song really was created. It was piecemeal put together. And if you listen to Buck Naked, if you listen to Bare Naked Lunch, if you listen to Yellow Tape, there are changes along the way where you can see the genesis of it slowly becoming and metamorphosizing into what we know it is on Gordon. It's really fun to watch that and listen to it. It is the fun things about listening to the demo tapes is in the tapes before the Gordon is hearing some of those songs have their metamorphosis into what we know they become. And this is one of those songs where, it definitely becomes something better. Blake, I know you know a ton about BNL. Do you know the origins of this song?
I do not know the origins, actually. I do not. Teach us.
Why don't we talk
Tracy.
a little bit about the origins? Because it's one of my favorite stories by Bare Naked Ladies.
Tracy, teach us.
This has a very special part in BNL history. So this was the first song that they ever wrote together. The way that Ed tells the story, and Kevin retells the story that Ed told him, and it's actually one of Kevin's favorite stories, is that, and this was, you can find this on the Strombo before and after the Juno Awards, the concert they did with the Strombo in his home. Ed worked as a day camp counselor, as we know from previous discussions, at the same place that Steven worked at, which is where they met each other for the millionth time at that point. and where they really connected. Ed would ride the bus home to and from the camp with the kids and with his guitar, and to keep them busy, because you didn't have cell phones, you didn't have video games or any of that stuff back then. Bus rides were boring. He would keep them entertained by playing a song, which is why this is a really simple song, because it's what you can play while you're riding on the bus and not too much bumping around. He just started playing this game with them called If I Had $1 Million. And it really was just to kind of keep the kids occupied. And if it was a long bus ride, what he would do is he would make up stuff that happened during the day at camp. So he would sing something along the lines of, if I had $1 million, and then they would respond, and they would then say, I would buy you a hat because you dropped yours in the outhouse today. And it was a song that would sum up the camp day. And that he liked it so much that when he got back to camp, he's like, hey, Steve, I wrote this song today, and it was really fun. And they started just riffing off each other, and that's when it really started growing from there. That's the origins of this song.
Nice. I like that, actually. It's very wholesome. Like we were saying how this song kind of is at times, you know?
Yeah. And I like that the first time that Ed sang it, like we hear in this song, like it feels like when we listen to this song, Stephen just started responding to whatever Ed was throwing out there. And it is a call and answer type song where Ed says something, Stephen replies, like the kids would on the bus. And then Ed throws out a line and Stephen's like, I can one up on that.
That makes sense. And that call and response is what has made this such a fan favorite. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's an extremely fun song. It is a song that every time it comes on my iPod, I listen to it, no matter what version it is. And I will sing along with it, and sometimes I'll do the harmonies, sometimes I'll do the melody. It is just a fantastic song to just try and play around with.
Exactly. It's very bouncy, too. You can't help, you can't stay you can't stay like in one place when this song's on. You can't not be in a good mood when this song is on. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible. I know it was on one of my mixes on my car, and my son was in the car, heard it for the first time, was like, what is this song? And he's just sitting there listening to the lyrics. He's like, that's funny. I don't get what's going on, but that's funny.
And my kids were picking up on it. They're like, why did he say not a real green rose? What is he talking about? And he didn't understand the humor of it at the time, and I had to explain the joke. And then afterwards, he's like, that's funny.
Yeah, it's one of those songs you appreciate more as you get older, even though it's ridiculous.
There is a trouble with Tracy with this song.
What is the trouble with Tracy?
What's the trouble with Tracy? He's got problems with this song. What's the trouble with Tracy?
The items in this song would no longer be affordable. If you got $1 million.
Well, actually, Tracy, it depends, because there are various prices on each item, but in the Canadian dollar, it would not be. So there you go.
Yes, that is true. And actually, even in the American dollar, so this is how I broke it down, because I had a little bit of extra time on my hands in the last 2 weeks while I was putting this all together. Let's walk through it.
Go for it. I'll give my notes and we'll compare. Go for it.
All right. So the first thing that he would buy is a house. Mm-hmm. Now, it's hard to tell, but in Toronto, Stephen said that most likely it would cost an entire $1 million. He's not quite accurate. The average for a home in Toronto is $750,000.
Wow. Okay, that's higher than I got. So there you go.
So already we're almost spent. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
What did you?
I'm closer to $300,000. So that low end, more low end. I was looking at low end numbers to see if I can keep it at low end. So that's what I was doing, and it still didn't work on the Canadian side. It still didn't work.
Even on the low end. So then we have the insides of the house. Buying furniture for your house, the rule is it's about 10% the cost of your home. That's about how much you're going to spend on furniture. So going by my estimate, that would be $75,000. Going by yours, it would end up being $30,000. Right. Mm-hmm.
Back to the furniture for a second. I did look at the prices for the actual items mentioned in the song, by the way. The Chesterfield sofa, currently at Pottery Barn, is $3,599. Like right now.
Yes,
if you buy it right now. And an ottoman is average about $350. We know that because we just bought one.
Yep.
So that's we just bought one. So there you go.
Now the K car was a key automobile design from Chrysler, as I was mentioning earlier. Mm-hmm. It was one of the stark departures. And you have to go specifically with the Plymouth Reliant, because he mentions the Plymouth Reliant in the song. Mm-hmm. There are, as of 2012, only 30,000 Plymouth Reliants left available for buying, which makes it worth a whole $3,500.
Oh wow, yours is lower than mine. I had mine at $69.95.
Was this the Price is Right?
You know what's funny? I was looking at the cars, and I'm like, wait a minute, I saw two of these at a car show recently. There's a car show that goes on during the summer at McDonald's down the street from my house, and my son likes going to, and I saw two of these there one time. So like, okay, there you go.
So now we're on to the tree fort, and as a person who built a tree fort for his kids last summer, that costs about $1,000 if you're building it yourself, which they mention in the song they are. Okay. So that's about $1,000 in material alone.
Fair enough.
Plus zoning permits.
Which I didn't even think of zoning permits.
Next thing he mentions are the mini fridges. Those go for about $85 to $100.
Right, that's about right, yes.
But that thing's got to be plugged in. We need at least $50 of extension cords to get that out there and keep that thing running. And really, if you're doing it right, because my dad's an electrician, you really should be setting a permanent station out there where it's all set up. But that's going to cost some more money.
Unless you're a Phineas and Ferb.
Yes. We're on to the real fur coats. Real fur coats are cheaper than faux fur coats.
I did not realize that until I looked this up, by the way. That is so true.
That's surprising to me.
It's actually kind of sad that faux
Well, I'm sure it depends on what fur, right?
Yes.
But still, it's weird.
The faux fur coats that I looked up because I was going for a low bid. Because I was like,
what if it was really made? Low. What if you shaved Bubbles and made the coat?
It's a small coat. That is a small coat.
Not a real fur coat. That's cruel.
That's cruel.
Especially if it's Bubbles. Although that would be really cheap at that point because, you got the llama, you got the emu, you got Bubbles, you got the materials right there.
Into one ridiculous coat here.
I want that coat, but only a faux fur coat. So that would cost about $100 at Macy's, according to what I researched.
You looked at the same price I did, because I actually did the same price, because it said regularly priced $400, and then but as of sale at $87.96. So we looked at the exact same price.
Emus, by the way, make the best pets when they are young. So don't go out and buy an adult unless you already have worked with an individual. But emus are very dangerous if you don't understand them. So you got to buy them when they're really young. So it is, for a 3-month-old chick, it's about $300 per chick. For an 18-month-old to 2-year-old emu, it is $800 per emu.
Yep. I got to say, by the way, I did look up the llamas, by the way, as well.
Llamas. Okay, yes, I actually had that somewhere else. Go ahead.
They actually I found the price. It could range anywhere from $1,500 to $5,000 for a llama, which is ridiculous, by the way.
Don't start opening a llama farm. They are expensive. So now we're on to John Merrick's remains. Anyone want to spitball what they think this is going to cost?
I have numbers, but Aaron, what do you think? I want to hear. Price is Right rules. Go ahead.
Oh, for Joseph Merrick's remains.
Either or.
Pay some respect. He was a real person. $250,000.
Ooh. You were not close.
What number do you have, Casey?
More or less?
I have more.
More.
I mean, it's an individual. It's a unique thing. Only one person could ever possess it.
It's only one of them.
$3 million.
No, it's not.
I had $350,000. So what do you have, Trace?
Yeah, it's $350,000.
$250,000 is close. You said it wasn't close.
No, but you think Price is Right rules?
Okay.
You think Price is Right rules? He was fine.
$100,000 to me is a huge amount.
Yeah. But using Price is Right rules, Aaron, you were fine.
So now we're on to the limousine.
Okay. But did they rent it or did they buy it?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Very good question.
The lowball estimate is if you're going to rent it, it's $255 to rent a limousine to go to the store and back.
Wow, you did your homework.
Well, my whole question here, though, I was looking at limo prices, and there was nothing for, like, less than 6 people, which is weird. I couldn't find anything for less than 6 people, because for 6 to 10 people, it's $95 to $145 an hour. So, like, what is it for, like, and that's, I don't remember spending that much, by the way, for a prom limo. I just want to note that, but that was also, in 1999, so that might have something to do with it, but still, that's a lot of money.
But you know what? He's talking about going to the store often to buy craft dinner. Like, this is not a one-time thing. He's going to rent the limo every time.
Oh, exactly.
So I think he's buying the limo. A new limo costs $90,000.
Wow. But it's worth it if you're going to use it. It's worth it if you're going to use it.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
But that brings us to the next item, which is, yes, he would definitely have to eat craft dinner.
Of course.
Like, at this point, like, we'll get to the additions in a few minutes, but at this point, you better be eating craft dinner because you've already expended a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's humble. He's got to.
So that's about 90 cents a box.
Yes, very nice.
Now we're on to the green dress.
Okay, go for it.
So a green dress is about $80.
Fair enough.
At Macy's.
Easy enough.
Macy's, we want you as a sponsor.
I love how we both went to Macy's, by the way.
Well, you know, Sears and JCPenney are pretty much
true.
Come on down to Macy's Green Dress Emporium.
No, Dress Emporium is a different
Whole
company.
different thing.
Keeping monkeys as pets are frowned upon.
By the way,
it's very difficult, it's very costly, and honestly, it's cruel and dangerous.
by the way, I want to make a note. When I said monkey, you guys went Bubbles. I'm a big Friends fan, so my first went to Marcel. So I just want to note that. I have a picture of Marcel in my notes.
Spider Monkey!
I have a picture of Marcel in my notes, so continue.
Nice. So, the least expensive monkeys are lemurs, tamarins, and marmosets. They're around $1,500 to $2,500. Now, rhesus macaques and baboons cost around $3,500, and spider monkeys cost around $6,000 each. Now, notice I said monkeys, not chimpanzees.
Right. That's a different thing.
So we're not talking about another postcard.
I do want to make a note. I think you skipped the art.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
you skipped the art.
Thank you. All right, so we have 2 options.
Yes. I know, this is interesting.
So for the most expensive, we have Pablo Picasso. And the most expensive Pablo Picasso painting out there is Woman of Algiers. This went for, in 1955, the last time it was bought, $179.36 million. We are way outside of our price range.
I did, though. I found the cheapest painting that had ever gone on an auction at $174,882.
Okay, so we gotta go for the cheap Pablo Picasso.
Yes, if we got the cheap route, it's still Picasso. So there you go.
But cheaper still, we have another option.
Yes.
We could buy Art Garfunkel for an appearance. Okay. And he goes for about $75,000 to $150,000 for an appearance. So I think that's our cheapest option at this point.
Yeah, I believe so too.
That brings me to love. You can't buy me love. So I don't know what he's going to do there. But you know what? I really want a picture of either the monkey, emu, and llama fur coat, or I want a picture of the monkey riding the emu. That would be amazing. We need a Photoshop of a monkey riding an emu.
There's your TikTok for this show.
Well, I was gonna say, at least they said an emu and not a cassowary. I don't know if you guys are aware of these things. Those birds have attacked human beings. They are vicious.
No, wait. What's a cassowary?
Cassowary is, I think it's like a South African bird. No, sorry, New Guinea and Australia, that area. They're huge birds. You might mistake them for emus if you didn't know. They're almost like, think about giant oversized turkeys. It's the kind of thing, if you ask me, when they talk about dinosaurs evolving into birds, this is basically the modern day velociraptor. They are super vicious, they're huge, and they attack people.
Where are they again?
I think like Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, Australia.
I'm never going to Indonesia. Yep.
In Australia has like the deadliest species of all the animals on land, all the animals in the sea, and it's approximately 10 feet away from the surface of the sun. Like literally everything is trying to kill you in Australia.
No wonder they made it a prison colony. We love you, Australia. Come on our show.
Australia, we know you listen. Please come on the show. Our guest today, the country of Australia.
The whole
country/continent.
The whole country. There you go.
I didn't bring in your numbers that you gave me that were some slight variations. I'm sure someone's going to give me those numbers down the road. But on the cheap end, with the numbers I had, it would cost $1.35 million approximately. Meaning, on American dollars, we are out of our money.
Well, is that in today's dollars, Tracy?
That
because
is
as
in
you
today's
know,
dollars.
Yes.
If I had $1.82 million,
see, I actually
but
we're technically still covered.
Okay, so you're giving for inflation. I was just going with like if I won $1 million.
Right.
And
I actually will go with
when this song came out.
I will say something though. Right now, if with the low end of numbers, I actually calculated it under 800,000. But when you jump to Canadian dollars, it's 1.017, so it's over the million in Canadian dollars right now. So just barely, but it's still over. As $17,000 is still a lot of money. So like
now,
despite what Aaron might say earlier,
expensive end.
Yes,
since he seems to want to really go high end here.
Right.
The most expensive end of this, it would cost $180 million to buy these things in American money.
That's ridiculous.
So,
well, they could do it now.
The trouble with Tracy is that we couldn't afford with $1 million to buy this stuff.
This is the longest trouble with Tracy ever.
Well, yeah, I forgot we were doing that. Well, Tracy, do you suppose the protagonist of the song is proposing to buy all of these things, or maybe just throwing out examples of something that he would do as a gesture of
That's a good question, actually.
I think what this song is he starts off very, very
a house and furniture, very grounded,
very practical. I think he's like trying to impress her. He's like, I'd buy you this, I'd buy you that. Oh, that's not impressing you. I'd buy you this, and he's just building on this constantly. Where he finally gets to the point where he's like, I'm going to buy you some really outlandish stuff.
It really is outlandish by the end. It really does get a little out of hand.
And then he runs out of outlandish stuff, so then he's like, well, I'll buy you a green dress.
But not a real green dress.
That's cruel.
So stupid. I love that line so much.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you take it as he would buy some of these things, or that he would buy all of these things?
I would look at it with an example of what he could buy. So, not literally buying every item here. Even though it's more fun that way. It really is more fun, but still.
I'm going to save our appearances for when I talk with the other gentleman next week. But I can't leave without knowing what you guys think of this song. Now, we don't have the rating system because Jeff gives us our rating system and he's not with us this week. But whatever he gives us for our rating system, obviously it's not dollars. Maybe it's $1 million. I don't know.
Canadian dollars.
Canadian $1 million.
They're definitely worth more than American right now. So
yes.
Everything
Especially
Canadian
right now.
is worth more than Americans right now.
Especially right now.
Whatever it comes down to, I want to know what you guys 0 to 5 will rate this song. I get the feeling that we're going to get some low numbers to start, so I'm gonna hand it over to start with Aaron.
Ooh.
Well, it's not going to be that low, but I kind of tipped my hand a little. This is not like one of my all-time favorites. That being said, it does have, like I said, a kind of a special place in my heart due to kind of being the first introduction to the wider pantheon of B&L. Like I said, it's a fun song. It's not my favorite. I hope I won't be booed out of the stadium because I'm definitely not hating on it. But we'll see how my rating compares to the rest of you. I first looked to the mid-4s, because it's definitely a strong contender. It's a good song. It's a solid song. And I always try and compare it to some other songs I've rated in the past. Now, I have Alternative Girlfriend at 4.5. I don't like If I Had $1 Million as much as Alternative Girlfriend. I love that song. So where do I put it? And I looked at Bank Job. I love Bank Job, but I still think this would be a little higher. So somewhere, I had 4.2 for Bank Job. So somewhere between 4.2 and 4.5. I keep going back and forth. I looked at, I gave Fun and Games a 4.4. That one is so quirky and fun and eccentric and out there. I have to put this just a little lower. Would you believe I have never rated a song in my tenure thus far a 4.3? So I do believe I'm going to award If I Had $1 Million 4.3 Canadian dollars out of 5.
Blake,
All
what
right.
do you think of this song?
I'm not going to sit there and name every single show I've been on. I've been on the show a lot, but I know the only song I've ever
Not
given
as
a
many
5
as Aaron,
to.
but out there.
This is like my 6th or 7th appearance on the show. So I know the only song I've ever given a 5 to on this show is Break Your Heart. That I know for a fact. I was thinking about this when we came on. I'm like, is this up there for me? And maybe I'm biased. And maybe because this is one of my karaoke anthems. And maybe because it is a song I love so much. And it's going to completely lopside the numbers. But I will have to give this one a 5 for me. And 5 Canadian dollars or whatever Jeff says it is. And I'm going to have to say it because this is literally one of my all-time favorite songs, not just Bare Naked Ladies. So...
All right. So I have to say for me, as you can see, I wrote nothing down for the ratings. I did so much research this week. I wrote nothing down for ratings. I just put the name to remind me to get to this part. So this was a super hard song for me. To the point that I had actually a whole range of numbers to give out tonight. Because if everyone else gave out 5s, I was not going to be the person that made that not a 5 song. Because when it comes down to it, honestly, this belongs on the Island playlist. If there was a BNL song, if people told me I only had 10 songs of all time from BNL and all the other ones would be erased, this would actually have to be on my BNL 10 list. Is it one of their best songs ever written? No. But I couldn't live without this song. It is a fundamental piece of who I am, and it's a fundamental piece, I think, of who most people who listen to Bare Naked Ladies are. And it is a fundamental piece of who the band is in that they've played it for every single concert they've ever done. It is one of the songs that when I listened to Gordon, my first album with them, that it made me fall in love with BNL. This song, Hello City, Crazy, those songs really, and Brian Wilson cemented me loving BNL. This song, with its quirkiness and its humor and its subversiveness, really hit home and made me laugh out loud, literally, when I listened to this song the first time, and many times since. Is it as funny now? No. In concert, though, I loved it when Steven and Ed would just start riffing off each other in this middle of the song. It's not as fun anymore without Steven, to be honest. This song, I won't say it needs to be retired, but it's not as fun without Steven. It had a special quality of Steven and Ed. I don't think I've ever heard Steven play this song alone. All right, so this is a long-winded way because I don't know what to give this song.
So you'll find out next week.
Same bat time. No, sorry. No, I'm going to agree with you, Aaron, on this one. I'm going to give it a 4.3 because, it's not the best song in the world. Once again, it is a song that I will absolutely go down. It is a song I will, every time someone says, hey, what's BNL? This is one of the songs that I will play for them to define BNL. So it's definitely in the 4s. I can't say it's as good as Brian Wilson in terms of musicality. It's much more simple. But this one really does hold a near and dear place in my heart and always will. And emotionally, I want to say 5, but I just at the same time can't critically say 5 because because of the simplicity of the song.
Fair enough. I'm curious to see if next week you stay with the same number.
It's going to change by next week. I'm going to be totally different with it next week.
Yeah, on the fun show.
Yeah, the one without those boring people.
I know. An hour and a half later,
I'm going to still be there.
An hour and a half later, I had to bring that back up.
I had to find some way of defining the difference of not dropping all this info next week.
We're just ribbing you, man.
I had to bring it up again.
It's going to be more boring because this week's more boring because of all the info I had to drop this week.
Yeah, between you and me, we had like 13 pages of notes.
Yeah. I hate being boring about it, but at the same time, like, this is such a fundamental song. Like, it deserves all the story that goes behind it and all the facts that go behind it.
And that's why you had me and Aaron here to make jokes around you. So.
Yes. Because I am not funny. I'm going to give the next song next week.
Fair enough.
No, it was a great time having you this week. So I want to, of course, highlight all the stuff that you do. Blake, can you tell people where to find more of you?
All right. Well, despite what you may have heard of past appearances, I only have 2 active podcasts right now. Blame the pandemic for that. I had other plans this year. But, so, the 2 shows I do have active. First of all, D5 The Mighty Ducks, the show where I break down the Mighty Ducks through 5 minutes at a time. Season 2 is over, ended about a month ago, and we actually did the entire movie, and then we actually did a special presentation from Movies by Minute at home, the con I was at, so we did a special show on there as well, so that's up there. Then the Blake and Sal Show, that is my weekly show every single Friday. We have not missed a week this year. I am very happy to say that. We have not missed a week. This entire pandemic, we have not missed a single week.
Wow.
So every single Friday at 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, on every single possible podcast platform you could find. We have now just got added to Amazon, so that's like, we're everywhere. It's awesome. And one other thing, Tracy, you don't even know, we were nominated for a comedy award, and we were actually nominated for the podcast award for comedy, and we're waiting to find out if we won. We're waiting. So I think on the
When
show...
do you find that out?
About, I think people hear this, it's about 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Very soon. Very, very, very soon. So I think it's like the 8th of about 1 week. There you go. I think it's the 8th of October. That's when the awards are. So I will find out that night in the following show. If we win, I have a whole opening planned. So I'm really hoping we win. So yeah, so that's all at the BlakeandSalShow.com. You can also find on that website all of my information for social media, everything we do, and all my guest appearances, including all the appearances on this show. So that's all there. And also on there is also our IMDb page, which I just like promoting that because I have an IMDb page now. Because I had a lot of time in my hands during this pandemic. So I made an IMDb page for the Blake and Sal Show.
Nice!
So there you go. Tracy, back to you.
Now, you guys changed networks too, right?
Yeah, we're on our own now. We are on our own. So it's fun. It's nice to be back on our own again. There was some drama. There was some drama from the last time I was on this show. There was a lot of drama behind the scenes. I'm not going to get into details here because I don't talk to the guy I had drama with anymore, and things happen. Some things happen, and we have drama issues. But at the end of last year,
you're on your own now.
Yeah, at the end of last year, we went on our own again. We pay for our own service. We do everything on our own, and it's funny. I was looking at some stuff because we started doing Zoom like this for our shows, and every week, if you follow us on Instagram, every single week, you get to see a graphic from our Zoom call. Sometimes I'll put videos from our Zoom call up. Like, it's stuff. I've put a lot of fun stuff up there. This year we did like game shows to fill some time. Like, we did a Jeopardy game. We did Family Feud. We did like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. We did a whole bunch of fun stuff. So like, we've had a lot of fun this year because we had a lot of time to do it. Despite the fact I work at a hospital. So like, despite that, I still had a lot of time to put some fun stuff together.
Still had a ton of time. Somehow.
Yes, well, it helps that when your co-host works from home. It kind of helps.
That's true. Yeah. So yes, go out, search all that stuff out, listen to all of it, listen to all the old stuff that you've done as well, the stuff that's archived. All of that stuff is really enjoyable. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me here. This is a lot of fun. This was a
real lot of fun. Good talking with you, Blake.
Yeah, it's been a while since the three of us were together. It really has been a while.
Thanks, that was fun. Don't forget, no regrets. Except maybe
next week actually is in the car. We're not going to do the episode in the car, but it is in the car. Although that would be funny. We should all just do our Zooms from in the car. That's next week's show. We're going to all Zoom from the car while we're driving. We'll see how well we do. How many accidents will we have?
Maybe you should drive.
To celebrate joining Pantheon Podcasts, Rock Camp, the podcast, the official podcast of Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, is giving away a guitar signed by Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater, Marty Friedman, formerly of Megadeth, and legendary shredder Zakk Wylde, plus our rockstar counselors like Vinny Appice, Monty Pittman, and more. To enter to win, simply follow, rate, and review our podcast on your preferred platform, and that's all you have to do. For more information, go to rockcamp.com/podcast.